Welcome to Ish I Saw on TikTok. In this series, we look at TikToks and some stitched responses where something very prevalent in dating today is discussed. Then finally, I'll provide my commentary at the end of just me being myself, unfiltered and unadulterated. Hi, I'm Janelle, the relationship coach behind The Successful Invisible. I work with successful, savvy, wonderful, professional Black women, single professional Black women who are 35 plus and are seeking just better dating options and have no clue where to start. Check out my links below if you're interested in working with me one-on-one or in a group coach setting. The goal of exploring some of these TikToks is to spark discussion and help you to develop more awareness, including self-awareness, in some of the patterns you've either engaged in or allow in your own dating life. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe.
A lot of people see my situation and not think that I'm not high functioning.
What situation?
Okay, so I'm not married. I have beautiful children.
How many?
8.
By how
8.
many women?
3. And this is the kicker. I want more.
By multiple women? What's the intent
I
of this
just want
saying?
God
Or by
to
your
bring
wife?
them. I just want God to bring them.
Oh, okay.
My desire to get married is lower than my fear of divorce. So, as you had said, Dr. Bryant, you said it, I didn't say it, I will agree. I'm just taking my time.
You're not taking your time.
I am, though.
You're being very action-based. You're not taking your time.
I'm taking my time.
You're being very action-based. You have 8 kids with 3 different women.
Yes.
You are creating, procreating, and multiplying. That is not taking your time. You're being very selectively active, okay? So you're creating, in disclaimer, the kids are innocent, they are beautiful and amazing. Anything I say has nothing to do with them babies. But you are proactively choosing where you want to be active at and where you want to take your time. You want to take your time in having a wife because of your own fears. But you will, and I say this with all respect and love, what I'm about to say next, okay, Cam? But you will selfishly create broken families, even if you're in their life and you're a proactive father, and I believe you're an amazing daddy. I can only imagine with just your presence and knowing you. But these families are still broken. Every child cannot have Papa in the house with them. So some child, if not all, will end up with some kind of deficit without daddy being there. Now, you chose to do that. I'm not saying you sat there and woke up one morning and said, I want to be selfish today, so I'm going to go make a baby. Not saying that at all. But those are selfish acts at the expense of your fear. And yeah, that is a low functioning behavior. To say that I'm going to build these houses and put kids and these beautiful women and kids in them, but I ain't going to create a home in them. I'm going to wait till I dissipate my fear to find a wife where I'm still going to be fearful with, because there's no such thing as not having some type of nerve or some type of feeling behind marrying somebody. And then I'm going to build a home with her while all these other beautiful babies have houses. That's completely unfair and that's selfish. And so, yes, you're taking your time in this department, but you're not taking your time in this department, which means you're compartmentalizing. And compartmentalizing never works. Compartmentalizing hurts everybody involved. Everybody who's in this box and that box and this box and that box and this box. And then here you go over here trying to figure out what box you're going to feed or entertain or do. Then you're looking outside to figure out who's your next victim to put in the box. It's unhealthy.
Cam Newton has 8 children by 3 different women, and he's on a podcast saying how he still wants to get married. Sir, be so for real. I think Cam Newton, we already know that he's created broken homes and stuff like that, so I'm not even going to talk about the fact that he has created 3 broken homes. But I'm going to talk about the fact that he's going to have to realize if you actually do want to be married, you're going to have to accept the fact that whoever you marry is marrying you for your money, for your bank account. Okay, and you're going to have to provide a certain lifestyle. Like, you're not getting married for love. That's out the window. You've lost value. Okay? Like y'all men tell us. Cam Newton was with his first baby mother for 6 years. 6 years, never married her. Y'all broke up because you were cheating on her and you got a woman pregnant. Like, you could have had a beautiful family to this day, but you wanted to cheat. And now look where it's got you. You're 35 on a podcast with 8 kids talking about you want to get married. Like, sir, be so for real. And then your last baby mother, Jasmine, whatever her name is, she's full on admitted that she does not care that she's a single mother because her child's father is a millionaire. So even she is not interested in you for who you are. It's for money. Like, sure, I'm sure you can get married, but again, you're not going to be getting married for love. On her end, it's not going to be for love. It's going to be for money. Maybe on your end, you'll be in love. But I still feel like he's probably bitter about his first baby mother, because when I was looking everything up, I'm seeing that he still dragged her to court over a car that he gifted her during a relationship, a car that she uses to take his children to and from school and wherever they need to be. Oh, he wants the car back. Like, you're bitter because you should have married that woman, and she's going to find somebody else, and you're going to have to settle for a woman who only wants you for your money.
The best part about the Cam Newton interview is the communication from the woman. Do you get what I'm saying? It's the way in which she communicated, and she dropped so many gems, and I hope women are picking them up. Whether you single, married, 50 warrior, whatever, I still hope you're picking them up, because men operate on fear. Men are afraid, and Cam Newton basically admitted to that. And you have to know what a man's fear is before you get into a relationship with him. You're not afraid of broken homes, but you're afraid of commitment. So you're willing to create broken homes because you want children, but you're not willing to commit for those children that you want to have a better life of you being inside of the home with them and not having to share your time with an 8 individual. But the best part is how she clocked his tea, but calmly. You know, she wasn't perturbed. She wasn't irritated. She was elegant and stoic, and was like, you're afraid and you're ruining your children's life and women's lives based on the fact that you have a fear, you know? So I hope as women we start to realize what it looks like to be confident, you know, what it looks like to know what you're talking about. And a lot of times I think women don't know how to be. Not really who to be, but how to be. So you got to start looking for examples of women who present themselves in that way, because a lot of us didn't have women or female examples to exemplify the behavior that benefits us. And I think she might be one of them. Love y'all. Bye. The thing is, I 100% agree with you, and I used to think like this. I swear to God, I'm a retired crash out. I promise. But I had to realize it was how I looked at things that made me act or react a certain way. When you look at the art in which she did what she did, it's going to make more sense, and I'll explain it to y'all. It's really like an art to it. And I read this book called The Art of War, and essentially what the man was saying is, like, the person who actually wins the battle is the one that figures out how not to fight. I'm paraphrasing, but stay with me. Because if either side is fighting, no one truly wins, because everyone is going to have casualties on both sides, right? So while we can look at it like she coaxes ego, I think when I look at it and I watch it, she just figured out a way how not to fight and how to get her point across without being combative, which is why I like that shit. Like, as a retired crash out, when you think things through as a woman, you really got to approach that shit from an analytical, logical space. And you really need to be figuring out how to converse before you even start a conversation. And you could tell she's well versed in the ability to have the art of communication, like going back and forth. She can be upset and self-regulate, which we saw. This Cam Newton interview, wow. This is what needed to be said. I am so glad. It's like a can of worms to listen to this man respectfully. Cam Newton is an accomplished footballer, okay? This is not just anybody. This is someone who is accomplished, saying that he is not going to get married just yet, even though he has 3 baby mamas and 8 children, and that he wants more children, okay? Of which he has no intention of being there and raising these children. He is willing to damage more souls. He's willing to damage more women. This is a conversation, and not to just pin it on him, because this mindset that he has, he didn't just get it from anywhere. This is ingrained within the community of men that look like this, that this is their mindset. That they are going to produce children, they're going to be successful financially, and they are not going to get married. It is crazy. And I'm glad that she has this conversation. And he is not the only one. This is, and the reason I'm so happy too is because people love judging black women and calling, oh, you're a single mom and blah, 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 as if we chose. This is what we're dealing with. This is the mindset that we're dealing with. And for you young girls and next generation that's coming up, this is the burden that's being placed on your back. We that are raising this generation of men and women, we have to teach them much better to stop this generational trauma and these curses. This is the wrong mindset. Like, you are accomplished. The type of life and the impact that your family can make in your lifetime, but yet you can't because you don't understand how to make commitment. Jane Aiko, accomplished. Same thing. Like, this is toxic. This is not normal. And we're looking at it with the Cardi B's and the Offsets, and we're watching the display of toxicity that's happening within our community. What do you think, those of us who nobody knows anything, what do you think we're dealing with? That he just got a 9-to-5 job making $120K a year and he thinks he's God's gift, and so he needs to spread his seed and his legacy. It's toxic. This is not how you build a community. This is how you tear down your community. And when a man like Cam Newton steps up and says something like that, what do you think the other men are saying to themselves? It's insane. And I'm glad that this conversation is being talked about. It's toxic. It's insane. You're just traumatizing those children.
Shut up and dribble was a crazy sentence to say, right? That was a crazy thing that was said at that specific moment in time. However, if she would have said that right now to Cam Newton, oh, I fear would have been stamped, okay, in the Hall of Fame. That what a bar. Because that man is feral. He's insane. He's off his rocker. You're telling us, right, with a straight face, a slight grin, but a straight face, you mean this seriously, that you have 8 children by 3 different women and you're still looking for your wife. You don't need to be outside looking nowhere. Your wife is already in the house. Go grab her. Go pick one of them women and just put a ring on that finger and just stop it. It's game over, buddy. Because even the math don't make sense. You got 8 kids, 3 different women. That means you got multiples somewhere. She was good enough to keep coming back, but not good enough to just give her a ring. Just please relax. Just please calm down. And then to say you want more kids, like, for what? For what? What do you didn't get it right? One of them 8 other times? You just want to keep, what are you doing? What's your end goal? And there's no way that you can be an active, present, dutiful parent, father in any of these situations. I refuse to believe. Because this reeks of, oh, I'm sending money here, I'm funding a trip there, like, I'm a great parent, I'm a great father. Like, you're not fathering, you're banking. We can reap those benefits anywhere, buddy. Just icky and embarrassing, because who's winning at this game? Like, are we really thinking about the kids? Because they're the ones who are losing at this point. Like, that's what we need to be thinking about.
Y'all ever be watching an interview and it's clear that one person is extremely intelligent and the other person is trying to sound intelligent? That's what I got from that Cam Newton interview with that doctor lady. I'm sorry, I forgot her name. I'm going to look it up because she is amazing, stunning, okay? If you ask me, I mean, killed him with kindness, those words cut deep. And I'm actually a fan of Cam Newton, but after seeing that interview, it made him look bad, baby. I mean, bad. He couldn't keep up. It was clear his ego was hurt. He wasn't listening to what she was saying. She broke it down so eloquently. The poor lady had to appease his ego just to keep the conversation going. Sir, yes, you have created broken homes. It doesn't matter how much money you make. You are a broken person and you live in fear. Why is everybody so fearful of getting a divorce? It's a divorce. Sometimes stuff don't work out. You know what I'm saying? I feel like people that's what I'm saying. Shira really ate with this. Sometimes we put ourselves on earth and we just be suffering. We make ourselves suffer. Nothing in life is ever that deep. We're on a floating rock. Get married, get divorced. Don't get married, don't get divorced. Like, it's literally like we make our issues so, like, our mind is so warped. It's crazy. This lady's sitting here letting you know that it doesn't matter how much money you make, sir. Those children, some of them are going to be lacking emotionally, especially the ones that you're not in the home with. You want to talk about how you have a glowing reputation with your baby mama, and somebody said in the comments, didn't you just take back one of the baby mama's trucks or one of the cars? It's not glowing. It can't be glowing. 3 different women, 3 different personalities, 8 children, and you're one man? Hell, I think at the daycare, it needs to be one parent, one adult to 6 kids, 7 kids. Like, sir, you created broken homes and you don't want to take accountability for that because your ego is broken and it's hurt. That's all it was. I mean, every time she was clocking him, I was like, damn. And she was doing it in a way that wasn't so nasty or negative or rude. She said, I'm saying all this with love. And I think he may have been upset because he feels like just because he makes a lot of money and he has a lot of accolades and fame that a woman should just want to be with him, but her standard is no kids. It doesn't matter how much money you have. She just said she won't date a man with kids. She said, I'm gonna date a 26-year-old with no kid versus dating a 40-year-old millionaire with 8 kids. I'm not gonna do that. That is her standard, and she's allowed to have that standard. He just could not stand it, y'all. That man was fuming. He was really mad because he couldn't keep up with the conversation. She said the conversation was going over his dreads. She's like, bring it back, because you're taking it so personal, and we're having a general conversation, and you inserted yourself as the experiment. So now, yeah, we're going to talk about the fact that you have 8 kids and you think that you're a high value man, and you're not. Doesn't take away for all that you're doing for the community. Doesn't take away that you're probably a decent human being. At the end of the day, those kids are going to be lacking in something. And I feel like, especially with black men, especially famous black men, they really think that this money is what makes them a good, decent father. And it doesn't. What are you providing for these children emotionally, especially for the ones that are not living in your house? Because he just had a baby, and then you talk about you want more. Why is it such a badge of honor for these black men? They just feel like they need to be popping out kids. It's not a badge of honor, baby. You're not doing nothing special or more different than another couple having a kid. You know what I'm saying? Not to sound mean or anything like that, but yeah, it made me want to watch just to hear what she had to say. I just felt like she was so well spoken. She got her points across. She wasn't rude, disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? She stood on her business and how she felt. And yeah, this woman seems like she has a good head on her shoulders and knows exactly what she's talking about. And so, yeah, for him, I just feel like he was so caught up in the fact, what do you mean I'm not high value? What do you mean X, Y, and Z? What she explained how she meant, sir. How is everybody understanding it? Everybody in the comments understanding exactly what this lady says. And everybody but him. He's smoking on that damn cigarette, pissed, because he really want to call this lady a bitch, but he know he can't do that. So, yeah, Cam, and not even just him. All these men out here, regular men, just because you paying for something don't make you a good daddy. It doesn't take away from the fact that they're in a broken home. It doesn't take away from the fact that they're going to lack something emotionally, and that you probably need to do better before you have more kids into this world. And for them, 3 baby mamas ain't that big of a deal. What you mean? There's only 3 baby mamas. That's a lot. I'm sorry. That's a lot. Hell, even 2 is a lot. You know what I'm saying? Dealing with 2 different schedules, it's just crazy to me. Just crazy to me. There is no fear of being a bad parent, though. Nobody ever has a fear of being a bad parent. Nobody cares about that. But you have a fear of commitment. You have a fear of being married. You have a fear of committing your life to somebody. But this person having your kid and potentially fucking them up or making terrible choices with your child, your seed, that doesn't scare you? All right. Y'all got it.
I just wish y'all would stop saying y'all want to get married after y'all had 18, 11 kids with 16 different women. Who the fuck's going to want to marry you? Have you thought about that? I just feel like I don't have no fight left in me about all these dudes having kids with everybody they touch and how it don't make no sense to keep creating broken families. That's what these people want to do. Okay? That is their burden to bear at this point. Y'all kids be having emotional issues and anger issues, and they can't connect with people because their dad wasn't there. And no matter how much money you pay, that don't change that fact. What more do y'all want from us? How many times do we go over this? Let this be their problem. Okay? Kim Newton talking about my desire for marriage is lower than my fear of divorce. Y'all put together fucking limericks and think you're fucking Socrates. Stop pissing me off, okay? That's not what the case is. You're not afraid of getting divorced. You just know for a fact that you don't have the things in you to be a good husband. You don't trust yourself. You know you're not good enough to be nobody's husband. And you know that eventually somebody's gonna start putting up with your shit and kick you to the fucking curb and take half everything you got for the fucking time and hassle of being married to your ass. That's what you're afraid of. And I just wish y'all would just be honest and say that, because trying to make it seem like this big moral issue when it's literally just a character issue, it's just getting tired. Shut the fuck up, dead ass. And Nick Cannon, I think her name is Dr. Bryant. Please keep gathering these. You can do it. I can't even watch. You could do it. Because even the clips I seen from her interview with Nick Cannon, she had to tell his ass, the women you date are low functioning. That's why you're able to do this shit with them. Because a bitch like me ain't going. In short terms, that's what she said. And he talking about something, I don't know about that. No, we all know that. Like, and then fucking watch Jazzy on Instagram trying to not fucking burst into tears. When people get on the internet after a drama and try to act unbothered, it makes me know that you're so bothered. I love when people get into drama and they just keep posting like everything's totally normal. They don't post like things that they don't normally post, like you line dancing in a bar with your man in a matching sweatsuit and a fucking fedora. Anyway, I'm tired. Get married, don't get married. Have 365 kids, have no kids. I don't give a goddamn. 1 baby mama, 100 baby mamas. Fuck it. Let's just all do anything. Everybody's so creative.
This man got on the podcast, looked this woman dead in the eye, and said, I'm not creating broken homes. I'm doing the best I can with what I was given. Sir, life is not a card game where somebody handed you cards. You literally made choices and decisions that got you to the place that you're in, that got these women and these children in the place they're in. But here's the part of the conversation I'm not really hearing anybody talk about. Is that the idea that both these men, Nick Cannon and Cam Newton, can behave and operate in this way is based on the belief that what is required of a man to be a father is far less than what is required of a woman to be a mother. I was having a conversation with a friend who happens to be a man a few months back when Nick Cannon first did his interview. And I made the statement that it's not possible that he be a successful father to 10 plus children. And my friend was arguing me down. We don't know how he provides and what he does for these kids. We don't know their living situation. I said, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if all those kids live in the house with him. It doesn't matter if they all live with their moms and he picks one day a week to go spend with all of them and he rotates. It doesn't matter. It's not possible for him to be a good father to 10 plus children. Hell, it's hard for parents to be a good father to 1 kid, to 2 kids, to 3 kids, and be present, living in the house, married to the mom. It's not humanly possible for him to be a good father. And my friends arguing me down. We don't know this and we don't know that. And I said, okay, do you think a woman can be a good mother to 10 children? And he paused. And so now we're looking at each other. And that's the problem. The problem is the expectation of what it looks like for a woman to be a mother is held at such a high regard that we go, of course she can't be a good mother to 10 kids, especially if she's a single mom, because she's a single mom, so she must be a whore. Don't let them all have different daddies. Then she's a whore to the 10th fucking power. But a man can be a father to 10 children, and we think it's reasonable that he could potentially be a decent father to all 10 of them because the expectation of what a man looks like as a father is so low. The bar is so low that we think because he can afford them, then he must be a good father. Because he can afford a nanny, because he can afford to buy each mother a house and a car, then he must be a good father. And that's what we need to reckon with. We need to reckon with this idea that what we require of men is not partnership. It's help. Even Cam says that. I don't want to call the mother of my children single mothers because that assumes that I don't help them. That's the problem. Is you're showing up as help. And help assumes that the responsibility belongs to the other person and that as a courtesy, you are showing up to help. That's not partnership. That is not an equal distribution of labor. I don't need your help. You need to participate because it's the right thing to do because your children require it, not because I need help. Y'all tell me what you think.
So I see the clip with Cam Newton and Dr. Cheyenne Bryant is going viral right now. And everybody is giving great points, but I want to give the real point. I wonder, do men like Cam Newton and Nick Cannon feel like bucks? And I know people like, oh my God, why would you say that? And for those of my people who do not know what a buck is, during slavery times, when it became illegal to transport slaves from Africa or the Caribbean to over here, they literally started focusing on maintaining slaves because, let's be honest, enslaved people did not have a long lifespan. So basically, bucks or strong male slaves were forced to breed even with their own family members, which is where the term MF come from if you wanted to know. Were literally forced to breed on the plantation to create babies and new slaves, aka a factory. So seeing Cam Newton's stature as I listened to that interview, which was hard to listen to, I ain't gonna lie, I thought, do you not feel like a buck? Because there has to be some sort of epigenetics at play. Because let's be honest, Cam is a big man. And that has to be genetic in some way, shape, or form. So I'm thinking in my head, there has to be some innate hypersexual trauma in your bloodline that makes you excited or feel pressured in a way to be quicker to be a father, or a breeder rather, because to be a father you have to be a full-time parent, and with 3 baby mamas and 8 kids, and you want to be married and you want more children, and you don't care how God give them to you, you just want God to give them to you. Those were his words, not mine. I just wonder, there has to be a sort of trauma attached to that. Like, that has to be deep within your bloodline to have that innate desire, that unexplainable desire to keep having children, knowing damn well people are telling you you're low functioning, which is crazy. The fact that people tell you that, and the fact that he refuses to believe it, and the fact that Dr. Cheyenne Bryant had to stroke his ego to get him to understand that, but that's another story for another day. There has to be an explanation for it. And a lot of our black men really have a lot of sexual trauma to heal. Everybody's talking about him being a deadbeat dad. Yes, but there's something bigger than that. And we need to address in our community how a lot of black men are hypersexual. And I don't know if it's epigenetics. It also could be a mix of trauma and epigenetics, starting early, being pressured to start early, because this is unacceptable. This is unacceptable. Because what woman in her right mind will want you if you have 3 baby mamas and 8 kids? Your value as a man is innately lost. And it has nothing to do with what you've chosen to do with your body, but everything to do with the fact that it wouldn't even be fair to marry you and be with you full time, knowing that your other kids can't get you full time. I don't know a woman in her right mind that would fall for that foolishness. But there are also a lot of women who see dollar signs and would, but that's another story for another day. But yeah, more than the deadbeat dad stuff, let's talk about black men and their sexual trauma. Epigenetics or present day, doesn't matter.
I know everybody has a lot to say about this Cam Newton thing, about him going on the podcast and saying he has 8 kids by 3 different women, and he wants more, and he doesn't feel like he's creating broken homes. It's wild for many obvious reasons. But what I want to talk about is the women who are having these kids. What's going through your brain? Because no matter what you say, there is no argument that can be made to justify having 8 kids by 3 different women. You cannot be an active and present father for all those children. It's not possible. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter how much free time you have. He cannot be a good father to all these kids. So for you as a woman to actively let this man get you pregnant, bringing a child into the world knowing that this kid is not going to have a real dad for real, and you still did it, I guess, because he's Cam Newton, he has the money to fund it. Like, are you serious? It's despicable on both sides. Both of y'all are equally wrong in this. Like, we've all seen the types of crazy behavior that women are willing to put up with as long as the behavior comes from a man with money. We've all seen that. Staying with a cheating husband, staying with a man that had a kid on you. We've all witnessed that. And I can understand, do what you want to do. Couldn't be me, but do you. But now you bringing kids into it on purpose. That's wrong. That is morally, that's not right. And you shouldn't feel good about that.
So let's talk about this Cam Newton podcast with Dr. Bryant. First of all, Dr. Bryant girl, she ate him up in the most classiest and sophisticated way, because a lot of people don't understand the difference between high value men and low functioning men. High value men can be low functioning. Okay? Cam Newton is a prime example of a high value man who is low functioning. You have all the resources in the world, all the money in the world to be able to attain anything it is that you want. But you're low functioning because you have created several broken homes. Because as he stated, his fear of getting divorced is higher than whatever risk there is that comes with having more babies out of wedlock. Now, we've had this conversation before. Marriage is not the end all be all, but when we stick to the main topic here and we think about just fundamentally what that means for children, regardless of how you look at it, it is taking away from the other children who aren't currently in the home with the father. Okay, so let's take my situation, or let's use me as an example. I had a baby with a man who has other kids. Okay, my child, had I still been with her father, my child would get more time. She would experience more because her father is in the home. Whereas the kids who he is not a part of their lives full time because he and the mother are not together, that is a broken home. Those kids get a fraction of the time in comparison to what my daughter would receive. That is low functioning. Now, I'm not going to sit here and act like I didn't make a mistake by having a baby with a low functioning man. Hell, I was operating at a level that was be considered low functioning. I was, because my desire to become a mother, but to become a mother with someone who did not have the capabilities or means to have a sustainable family or have a sustainable relationship, I didn't do my due diligence when it came to having a child with that man. But one of the worst part of the mistake, if we're gonna break it down to a more granular level, he wasn't high value either. And I'm not gonna sit here and say that a woman should take shit from a high value man who can provide you a lifestyle, right? But still deal with him being low vibrational or low functional. Either way, it's a lose-lose. But I don't understand how Cam wasn't able to realize how he is low functioning but high value. The amount of time that he's able to spend with his children just mathematically does not equal out to the amount of time that he's going to be able to spend with the child that he has with the mother that he's actually in a relationship with, that is in the home with him. It's important for men, women as well, to heal that brokenness in them that is going to allow for them to be active in one dynamic, as Dr. Bryant stated, but less active in another, because you're allowing your fear, which sometimes I believe is a lot of excuses, to trap you into this dynamic, which will create broken homes. For me, I'm not going to sit here and lie to y'all. I definitely was very low vibrational by having a child with a man who I should have never ever given the time of day. I should have never ever stayed with for as long as that was low vibrational. That was low functioning of me as a woman. But in learning a valuable lesson, based on my experience, my daughter will be 8 in October. And that has taught me just a valuable lesson about what it is that I do not want in a partner, which is why I am pretty much at this point one and done when it comes to the kids. And one thing that I just can't seem to understand is how a man would so willingly give a woman his seed, but be hesitant to commit into a marriage with her. That is weird to me. I feel like that is weird, like, in my previous relationship, he just could not trust me. He just felt like I was always up to something. He couldn't trust me, this, that, and the other, which in hindsight, he's a narcissist and they project the things that they're doing onto you, okay? But I couldn't understand how you couldn't trust me, but yet you're sleeping with me. You know what I mean? It's just weird, and it just really doesn't make any sense, which is why I think a lot of people suffer with mental illness and are a lot mentally challenged than anything else. But that podcast, that conversation was so eye-opening, because a lot of high value men do not realize that they are low functioning as well. And a lot of women will accept that and will accept the fact that they're able to provide them a certain lifestyle. So they're willing to take the bare minimum, which brings me back to the conversation that I had earlier on about allowing your loneliness to put you in a position to accept the bare minimum. I'm sorry. That's just, it's low functioning either way. And I wonder how much research he actually did before this interview, because the fact that he would say, and I'm summarizing it, but the fact that he would say something like, something to the effect of women not accepting, basically, he said something about women not accepting, I guess, low functioning men if they weren't of high value. I'm like, girl, I mean, and I'm saying girl, but girl, are you crazy? There are so many women who are married to low functioning men that have no value, that are not of any value. You have so many bums that are married to women who literally run laps around them. And I'm like, he couldn't have done his research when it came to this interview, because, babe, and if we're speaking in the microcosm of black women have literally are the leading, most educated, are graduating from college and getting their degrees, and basically doing their shit. Like, it's black women. So who do you think these black women, most of them, are in relationships with? A lot of them do not equate to the same level that we as black women have attained. And it's a fact. It's a fact. And I'm not speaking in, for every relationship, but it is, there are a lot of bums that are married to women who are doing their shit. It's just a fact.
Let's jump into my favorite part of all of the content I post on YouTube, and that's just my thoughts, where I get to kind of express what I feel about whatever we have read or gone over. So let's get into it. Now that we have the ladies' perspective on Cam Newton's interview with Dr. Bryant, I really like that so many different aspects and questions were posed. One of the first ones being that, you know, she did call him out, but in a very tactful way. One of the ones that I really liked was that the TikTok that was asking also the women, like, why do you continue to get yourself in these situations with a man like this? He has shown with zero remorse and without a shadow of a doubt who he is, with procreating with all of these women, not committing to them in the form of marriage, creating all this brokenness, these broken homes, these broken souls with these children. Like, why do women keep dealing with him? Money, of course, is a factor, and it also goes to demonstrate the type of women or the mindset of the women that Cam Newton is basically attracted to and willing to engage with. Because he was a little salty when the doctor said she wouldn't date him because he has kids and she doesn't want to date a man with kids, which is totally fair. And I understand that for myself. And another TikTok I really liked was the woman who asked if he basically felt like a buck in terms of like enslaved people, where you had buck breaking and you had, slave masters took their strongest slaves and made them procreate with other slaves, even if at times it was their family members. They didn't care, of course, because they didn't regard enslaved people as slaves. So I really like those questions that were posed. But in this, just my thoughts, I really wanted to give my perspective because I am in that situation where I don't have kids. I'm an educated professional who actively dates. I'm doing quite well in my given profession as well as my side business, which is my coaching. And to me, date, at our big ages, and that is the appropriate term for it, big ages. Cam Newton is 35, 36, or 37 years old, something like that. He is old enough to know better. And it is very appalling to me as a woman who would be part of that demographic, not me specifically, but part of that demographic that he's probably interested in as a wife, it's very off-putting. I have not laid around and brought a bunch of people in this world and created all this brokenness and broken lives. And I really cannot trust and respect any man who has behaved in that manner, especially a man who has had as much success and opportunities as someone of Cam Newton's standing. Like, he has the money that he could have made very different decisions and his life could be at a very different place. I have mad respect for him for what he's done on the field and in his craft and his profession and how he's kind of pivoting that into other areas. I think that is really cool. And I think that is something that, young men can look up to. But speaking from the perspective of what I see a man who has made those decisions as a partner, absolutely not, because I can't trust him. People fail to understand that he is a high earning man, a man of high net worth, but value. I hate that term, high value man. He is a man of low character, because here's the thing. And the doctor said low functioning. Character is what you do when no one's looking. Okay. And in this case, it's like, I would not feel comfortable. I would not trust a man who has made the conscious decisions to be that free and not respecting his own body, the bodies of other women, and then the children that he's bringing in this world so indiscriminately without thought or care with how that impacts them. I can't trust him because he just seems to want to stick his penis in any, hole that's available. And that, to me, that is a man of low character. That's not a character that I can trust. That's not a man with a character that I would trust to lead me. He can't lead himself. He can't keep it in his pants. He can't wrap it up. That's what goes through my head if I were to meet a man who has all of this success in one area, but has zero self-control. So he is creating a scenario where he is driving away the type of women that he says he wants. And it's maddening when I see this. For some reason, I say this especially in the Black community, there's this thought, well, oh, I have money. That doesn't mean you can get away with terrible behaviors, especially if you really want to attract a woman who herself has been very diligent about how she's lived her life, has been very driven in what she has and is successful, has a high level of education, also has a lot of options. Do not listen to that rhetoric talking that yin yang about, oh, women hit the wall. That's stupid. What the reality is because I have pursued education so diligently, because I have multiple degrees, professional certifications, because I work at a certain level in the corporate world, because I do this as my side business, my coaching is my side business, I am able to put myself in certain rooms that is a very different caliber of men. And when you're able to do that, you don't want to deal with these men who have made consistently poor decisions with their own lives and their own bodies. So I would say if Cam Newton is serious about wanting to get married one day, he needs to keep it in his pants and he needs to really step up in being an active, consistent parent in all of his children's lives. I think 8 kids and 3 babies' moms is off-putting, but if he would do that and really move differently, he could attract the type of woman that he, is seeking, because there are some women that would be open to this. I can't say there would be a lot of women on the level that he's looking at would be open to it, but there are some. But he can only do that and attract those women through demonstrating different behaviors, which I haven't seen, and I honestly don't have too big of a hope for, because from the way that whole podcast episode went, he is very in his ego. So until he gets to the point where he's ready to really grow up and get out of that and shed a lot of the toxic traits that he thinks are cool and probably is in an echo chamber with the men that he has around him, I don't think that, he's going to improve or his behavior is going to shift. Thank you for joining me today for this episode of Ish I Saw on TikTok, Low Functioning Men, Part 2 of 2. Watch this video again. I think you'll find some really interesting takes that the ladies have. Reflect on them and see if they apply to anyone that you're currently or have formerly dated, and then see how you can go from there and learn from that. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you're interested in working with me one-on-one, check out the links below. Also, check out my podcast, The Successful Invisible, next season publishing soon on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Until next time, this is your relationship coach, Janelle, signing off.